On August 22, 2009, a very intense near-death experience happened. A 106 degrees Fahrenheit fever and terrible pain made it necessary to go to the hospital right away. The medical team did tests, but they still couldn't figure out what was causing the pain. During a CT scan, as the IV was being changed, something strange started to separate. It felt like the self was floating away, like a bubble slowly rising into the sky, but it was held in place by constant pain. After the scan, things got worse. He started shaking, his veins hurt, and the pressure was too much to bear. The fever made it both very hot and very cold at the same time. In the middle of the chaos, a stark truth hit. It was getting harder and harder to bear the pain. There was a big change that cut them off from the outside world. The people, the medical staff, and the machines stopped being there. The pain was still there, but not as bad as it used to be. An internal observation began. It was like watching a movie without any feelings involved. It showed blood flow, cellular activity, and organ processes with clinical distance. It became clear that death was coming soon. As this understanding grew stronger, an amazing event happened. I rose from my body to a higher level of awareness. The body, which was lying on the bed, was looked at from afar. It looked like the soul had left the body, and the journey went on. Over time, there was a shifting of the perspective and a shrinking of the size, and the hospital was seen as a faraway, complicated web of energy. There were souls linked by thin, shimmering threads that made up a complex web of oneness. People became interested in what these souls were doing with their energy, but the flying kept going into a huge, dark space. The darkness in this realm was deep, but there was no fear in it. When going through a tunnel, the feeling of speed was thrilling, and it ended with a sudden burst of blindingly bright, powerful light. It took a moment to get used to the bright and beautiful light. As soon as things became clear again, I knew I was in heaven. As the light got brighter, a deep feeling of love that didn't depend on anything else came over me. It was like an embrace of warmth, value, and acceptance that went beyond any deeds or experiences I had on earth. The next feeling I had was a deep peace, an intense sense that everything was working together perfectly. It felt like I was going through a deep healing process. I could feel parts of my soul that had been hurt or broken being filled with a loving, all-encompassing love. This healing was so powerful that it made me realize, this is who I really am. This is the person I'm supposed to be. This is what my soul is made of. After being surrounded by this bright light for a while and feeling deeply at peace, I started to sense that other souls were coming toward me. When the meeting ended, there was a clear but subtle message. You need to go back. It felt like a friendly get-together and wasn't scary. The order came as a surprise and wasn't wanted. I fought back hard and begged, "No, please don't make me go back. This place is so beautiful. You need to go back," the voice said over and over again, and there was no arguing with it. It was clear that this was not something that could be negotiated, because the tone was caring but firm. I tried to get out of the tube, but I felt a soft but strong pull that would not let go. As I was pulled quickly back into my body, the feeling was quick and confusing. The pain came back all of a sudden, which was very different from the calm feeling I had just had. When I woke up, it was late on a weekend night, and I was in the pre-op area of the hospital. It was very quiet and strange where I was. To my surprise, I found myself getting the last words. This didn't make sense in light of what I had just been through. I had a hard time understanding what was going on around me because I didn't feel connected to the medical tools and processes. Even though I couldn't talk, I could tell that my family, friends, and medical staff were worried and in pain. I had never seen them look so worried before, and I wished I could comfort them. If I were meant to die, I would not have been brought back. The next morning, I found out that my fever, which had been 106 degrees Fahrenheit, had dropped to a dangerously low 94 degrees Fahrenheit. A kidney stone blocking my ureter was found to be the cause of the infection that spread throughout my body and caused septic shock. The doctors told me that the next 24 hours were very important and that my internal parts would need to be closely watched. Even though I was still in a lot of pain, I wanted to say, everything will be okay. This is true because I wouldn't be back otherwise. I was still pretty sick physically, and I was dealing with a painful and confusing reality. I felt like I was dancing between my mental and physical selves, trying to get back in touch with my body fully. The hospital's artificial setting, with all of its machines and tools, made me feel strange and uneasy. I could only find comfort in the people around me, whose hearts I could connect with. I felt better when I looked out the big window in my hospital room at the trees. It made me think of the white light I had experienced. I looked at those trees for a long time because they reminded me of the divine light that had enveloped me. When I thought about the deep experience, I couldn't deny how real it felt. When I tried to tell people close to me about this, they turned me down. This reaction makes sense. Seeing a loved one die is a very upsetting thing to go through. When people get better, talking about death and spiritual experiences can be hard for them because they have been through so much pain. The world seems to be going through a rough patch right now, with a lot of terrible things happening. Sometimes it feels like we're stuck in a long period of darkness. However, this chaos may be what's needed before a major restart. Even though it might take a while, this chaos is a step toward rebirth in the end. We can create a space of love and light within ourselves by focusing on our own triggers. This space then spreads outward to positively affect the world. In their current situation, each person has the power to make a difference by simply being themselves. Enjoy the process of healing and work to get back in touch with your true self. No matter where you are today, you are exactly where you need to be to fulfill your soul's mission. When you think about things that happened in the past, like those 5 years ago, you realize that you were already on the right path to get to where you are now. By loving and accepting yourself all the time, savoring the present, and committing to personal growth, you make a real difference in the world.